Okay, so I thought I'd do a quick video about what it's like owning an Aprilia RS125 as a new rider, because I haven't seen many of those out there. But I'll go through it, talk about some good points, some bad points, some things to consider. Okay, so here we go. So this is my Aprilia RS125. It's a GP Replica Edition 4-stroke. Now I did want a 2-stroke, but they are quite hard to come by, especially where I live. I'm quite out in the sticks, and yeah, I couldn't come across any out here. None that were in good condition anyway. And this was up for sale close to where I live, so I went and had a look. I was quite impressed with the condition. It had about 1,000, just under 1,700 miles on it, which is pretty low, and it was nearly £2 cheaper than buying it new, so that basically made the decision for me. Now, like I said, I did want the 2-stroke, but I also wanted a 2.0 because I thought, being a new rider on my CBT, probably going to be a bit difficult to ride a sport bike, so probably best to go for something more upright. But I did want a sport bike, and so I'll quickly go over what that was like, because the question you might have is, am I going to be able to ride it as a new rider, having never ridden a sport bike? And the answer to that is, if you're reasonably competent, I don't see why not. I didn't struggle at all, and I thought I would, but it's not actually as uncomfortable as you would think. It can get uncomfortable, but initially I actually surprisingly found it easier to ride than the Chinese upright, more retro styled bike that I did my CBT on. I'm not sure why that is. Perhaps it's the superior build quality, but it just felt a little bit easier to ride, very forgiving. The one area I think you do have, or I did have an issue with, is with the clip-ons. Obviously slightly different to the more upright style, is when you get to full lock, like when you're doing your slow speed turns, you can find the weight suddenly shifts and it does want to swing right in, and that can sort of make you wobble a bit at first when you're doing your slow speed. I'm talking about exiting junctions, that kind of thing. But once you're up to speed, going around bends, it handles superb. You know, small inputs, and really, you know, as long as your body positioning is okay, you're going to be all right. So if you are desperate for a sport bike and you're not interested in upright bikes or classical retro ones, then don't be put off, but do consider what you want out of it long term, because I've had this 9 months now and I'm already starting to feel like it's pretty uncomfortable on long journeys. After more than 5 minutes your wrists start to hurt quite a bit, and yeah, I'm starting to feel like it's a bit too impractical. Now, it's not completely impractical. There's a nice storage compartment under the seat here, and I found it's pretty good. Like, I can fit my bike lock in there. I'll just open it up to give you a look. The lock comes a little bit loose, that's one thing to but you see, I've got my bike lock in there. You can fit your wallet, keys. That's pretty handy. A lot of bikes don't come with that, and I find that super useful. So yeah, so it's not a completely impractical bike. Again, just focus on comfort for the minute. That comes loose under there. There's a little bolt. See that bit right there? That comes loose. You just tighten it. At the moment it's a bit loose, so it doesn't always lock properly, but you just tighten that with a spanner and it starts working properly again. But yeah, in terms of the seat's really comfortable. It is, as I said, you are leaning slightly forward, and that does get quite uncomfortable pretty fast. But on this bike, I'm quite short, 5'6", and I'm flat-footed when I'm on the bike, so yeah, it's pretty comfortable. You know, gives you a lot of confidence having your feet on the floor. So yeah, but if you're buying it just to ride around for a bit of fun, you'll be all right. If you want to ride it to commute around, probably go for something a bit more comfortable, maybe a 200 or another bike in that sort of styling. But if you do want to go to the track and you definitely know you want a sport bike, but you're a bit worried you might not be able to ride it, you'd probably be alright with this. Another reason a lot of people won't look at a bike like this is the fact it's a 4-stroke. And if you're like me, you probably wanted the 2-stroke, but they're hard to come by now. They're getting quite old, and if you're new to riding, they have a lot of reliability issues. Needed an engine rebuild every so often, which can get expensive. But they are still the cooler, faster bike. But the 4-stroke's got its advantages. I bought this with just under 1,700 miles on it, with 2 previous owners, and reliability wise I have not had any issues with the bike. It's been solid. I've had no faults, and in terms of speed, a lot of people tell you the 4-stroke's slow. Well, I'll just turn mine on. It saves your max speed, and as you can see there, I have no problem getting it up to 79. That's how fast I managed to get this bike to go, and it gets there pretty quick. But the issue you do have with it is once you get to about 70, rev limiter does kick in and it starts to hold back, and you can't really go much further than 79. That's what I've managed to get out of it, and that was on the flat as well. That wasn't downhill, that was on the flat on the A road. So it's not slow by any stretch, but unless you're competing against the big bikes. But if you're new to riding, you shouldn't really be expecting to go any faster than the speed limit anyway. And even speed limit's probably going to be a bit fast until you really know what you're doing. But I'll have a quick look around the bike. As you can see, it's the Italian GP replica colours, which wouldn't be my first choice, but buying a bike second hand, you're saving the money, and not being able to choose the colour saves you a bit of money. But personally, there's some other colour schemes that I think look a bit better than this one, but it doesn't look bad. Perhaps a little bit too showy. Personally, I'd rather something a bit more subtle. But yeah, noise wise, at slow speeds the engine sounds a little bit lawnmowery, but once you're up to speed, you know, when you're revving it, it does sound alright. You know, you start to get that sport bike sound. You can always strap a more expensive exhaust on it, but like I said, I probably think I'd probably rather have something a bit more comfortable than this. But as an Aprilia fan, it was always really going to be my first bike, either this or a 200, and I couldn't get hold of a 200, so got this instead. And it's been alright, but not particularly practical. And I think the problem you're going to have is if your bike's not practical, you're going to struggle to justify owning it with a cost involved. And especially if you've got a partner or kids like I have, it's difficult to justify owning a sport bike. So perhaps something more commuter friendly. If you can find something commuter friendly that's kind of cool, kind of sporty at the same time, then you're probably onto a winner. Okay, a couple of points I forgot to mention before. A couple of issues that I had with the bike to start with is the first one is the mirrors. Now, I've heard people complain about the mirrors on this bike, and I don't know why, because personally I find the view, they're quite big. As long as you adjust them to where you want them so that you've got good visibility behind you, I don't see an issue with it. If you ride predominantly more upright, then obviously you arrange them for that, but then you will find when you tuck in, they are gonna not quite be in the right position. So just make sure if you're riding more tucked in, adjust them for that. If you're gonna ride more upright, adjust them for that. But one issue you do have with these mirrors is one of them does tend to come a bit loose, and that'll fall down, but it's quite simple to fix. There's a little bolt underneath there, which you can just see, and you just tighten that up, and you shouldn't have any issues with it after that. I mean, I've tightened it once, and since tightening it, they don't fall down anymore. So there's that. Right, now the other issue I've had is if you want to mount your phone using a quad lock or something similar, is there's nowhere to mount it, like absolutely nowhere. That hole is not big enough to fit in the quad lock mount, and likewise there's no room anywhere on the bars to clip it on. Now you might see that and think, oh, there's room there, but there is a cable underneath for all the electronics, and to fit it there, I have tried to fit it there. When you actually try to move the bars, the phone is going to hit the windshield there, and that's obviously not ideal. So that is one issue, is that there is nowhere to mount your phone unless you actually stick it to this. You need to get quite inventive, and I haven't found a way yet. So that is a big downside to this if you plan on using your phone for sat nav or anything. That's not ideal. Anyway, I'll do some more videos, perhaps one on the road, but for now I think I'll leave it there for today. Thanks for watching.